The Future on Application Security by Bulwark and Invicti. On today's agenda, first we'll be introducing the co-panelist, and we'll have a quick short introduction on the Bulwark distribution, and we'll be having a quick slides on Invicti ASPM, which will be followed by a technical demo on Invicti ASPM. And we also have a live Q&A chat room. Myself, Rahul, I'm the product manager for Invicti from Bulwark. Along with me, I have Cenk, who is the GM and co-founder of Kondukto. And we also have Liam Diamto, who is a senior solution engineer from Invicti. Bulwark, we are a value-added distribution for this cybersecurity solution in this region. We have been in the Middle East for past 25 plus years, and we have been in India for the past 8+ years. We established Bulwark in 2017 in India and in 1999 in Middle East. We deal with, or we work with 750 plus business partners in Middle East and India. We also deliver the round clock value-added services through our partner network across Middle East, KSA, and in Indian subcontinent. We are partnered with Invicti since 2017. Since then, we have been delivering our services to the partner community and the customers. That's it from my side. I'm handing into Cenk to take it further forward. Over to you, Cenk. Thank you.
Thank you, Rahul. Hello, everyone. This is Cenk Kalpakolo. I'm the general manager of ASPM at Invicti. And previously, I'm one of the technical co-founders at Kondukto, who have been acquired from Invicti a few months ago. So today I'm going to explain why ASPM is a need in the current development world, and what kind of benefits we can provide to our customers, to our partners, and why the ASPM is a booming business and from an application perspective to provide better security posture. So as you all know very well, right now we are living in the DevOps-driven development world. So this means that the number of applications deployed each day is getting increased tremendously. This is not just the number of applications, but the processes as well is increased a lot. And besides the number of this increase of number, we also have a resource issue in the enterprises. And this resource issue is basically for 100 developers, we have only one single application security engineers. And in order to manage vulnerabilities in these high number of increase, we will need to use automations, but the automations will not be enough. So that's why, while having the vulnerabilities coming the other resources, extra context or contextualization will be needed. And this is where the ASPM shines. And ASPM is basically a vulnerability management platform, provides automation capabilities, but in the end, this is a people management issue. So those tools, ASPM tools, also provides collaboration needs across the teams, because when we are talking about the security, the DevOps teams, infrastructure teams, managers, lots of stakeholders should be included in these processes. So, can you switch to the next one? However, what do we mean by the proof-based ASPM? Again, ASPM is a vulnerability management platform, but vulnerability management is not just the only thing that ASPM tools provides. It's just the baseline. So from the vulnerability management perspective, we can definitely associate vulnerabilities, teams, and stakeholders, but the data and the automation aspect is actually how we utilize the vulnerability management platform or the dashboards. From the automation perspective, Invicti ASPM provides crucial benefits in a few different ways. One of the benefits that we provide is the number of integrations. Invicti ASPM provides over 120 integrations, and if you have a custom resources or custom processes, you can always push custom tools, custom results to our platform. And one of the important piece of our platform is the orchestration layer. Even if you are not using or utilizing other security technologies, Invicti ASPM will provide orchestration in different security technologies. So even if you're not using all the security technologies, this orchestration piece will give you benefits to contextualize vulnerabilities. In the end, vulnerability management is a prioritization game, and those tools should give you a prioritization environment to make better decisions in an automated way. Yeah, next one, please. So how do we do that, right? On the left side here, you can see the different security technologies that we can provide, we support. Not just the automating tools, also the manual pen test results or manual findings can be ingested by the Invicti ASPM. And by using different data sources and data points, we process this information, create actionable items. Here, we provide a unique benefits with the Invicti tooling, because Invicti is a state-of-art DAS solution, and with the proof-based ASPM capabilities, you can use these proofs as an additional automation or automation point to have better decisions from a vulnerability perspective. How do we stack those? We start our journey from the development or the repository level. And from the repository or from the left side, we can go up to right side to the runtime, and we can create from code to runtime vulnerability posture for each project, for each applications. And on the right side, you see the different issues that we can provide to our customers. Obviously, you can escalate tickets automatically, or maybe some alerts, Slack, Teams, or mail notifications. You can utilize ASPM results as a security gate on your CI/CD pipeline. So this means that based on the policies that you provide, whenever those policies or thresholds hits, we can stop the build and notify all the stakeholders about the findings. A good example for that, just this week, 150 npm repositories have been compromised. So this could be another automation process that you can use easily. But vulnerability is not just always alerting. Sometimes the suppression rules or accepting known vulnerabilities or defects should be also part of this. So this is also supported. And since we are talking about the enterprise world, customization will be always needed. And one of the benefit of our platform would be the flexibility on the from the customization perspective. So next one, please. So why Invicti ASPM shines in the ASPM world, right? First of all, we provide super flexible and collaborative platform. Invicti ASPM can be used as an on-prem solution. So this is crucial for the enterprise or sensitive institutions, maybe governmental institutions or more highly regulated companies are using our platform. This is a plug-and-play tool, means that Invicti ASPM comes with orchestration capabilities using some open source technologies, and we have the highest CI/CD adoption capabilities using our CLI and APIs. On the other hand, this is a pretty flexible and new generated environment. We have proven track record with huge enterprises running over millions of vulnerabilities, and the architecture is horizontal scalable. And we are one of the early players in the ASPM space. We've been doing this ASPM for almost 7 years, and this means that we have lots of battle scars. So this maturity and this capability creates unique solutions to our customers in a few different ways. Next one, please. So how, and lastly, I would like to explain how the ASPM licensing works. Obviously, if you have more questions, we can give you more details, but we have a concept called project. This project could be a code repository or minimum scannable unit, or maybe a group of infrastructure vulnerabilities, or maybe a cloud security group, right? This is up to you how you want to group the vulnerabilities or projects. And then we have users. Users are actually the users that are going to get benefit from the ASPM platform itself. This could be users who will be logging to the systems or who will be receiving notifications or issue results based on your organizations. In some organizations, all the developers could be a user. However, for more less security oriented or teams, or if you have product security engineers, only the product security engineer could be the users, and product security engineers will be the escalating issues or defects in their team internally. And both of the numbers will create units for us, and we basically price for units. And this is pretty straightforward licensing model. And I would say it is, again, straightforward in a few different ways. For example, some companies might be using active developers by checking the GitHub or Git repositories. We don't do that. And this is also helps us to create unique licensing or grouping mechanism for our partners and customers. And right now, I'm passing you. Yeah, let's next. Okay. So to give you quick important part from the Invicti ASPM. First of all, even though we are part of an Invicti group, the ASPM is an totally vendor agnostic solutions. This means that a competitor of Invicti from a desk perspective could be also a very well customer for our ASPM functionalities. We support in all over 150 tools. Yeah, and I think 32 or 33 open source technologies are supported. So this means that even if you don't use those technologies, you can spin the scanner and start using open source technologies like Bandit, Chekhov, Golang, or for other, which we will be showing in a bit. Again, we support flexible deployment. Since we support on-prem, if one of customer requires to be served ASPM platform in their private cloud, which could be Oracle, Alibaba Cloud, etc., this is also supported. Since we have a unique features, and more features will be coming for the Invicti Dust, runtime verified dust findings can be utilized in the workflows and automations to prioritize findings and manage teams in a best efficient way. Next one, please. So we developed Invicti ASPM for the enterprises. Lots of huge enterprise, Fortune 10 companies also are using Invicti ASPM. And you can consider this solution as an enterprise-friendly, flexible ASPM and vulnerability management platform. And right now, I'm going to pass to Liam for a technical demo. And in the meantime, if you have any questions, feel free to send messages from the chat box, which we will be answering in a minute. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Cenk. And first of all, thank you everyone for joining. For those who don't know me, my name is Liam D'Amato. I've been working with the Invicti team now for the past, I think approaching my 7th year. As we normally would show the Akinetics engine or basically the Sparker engine, we are now also have the Kondukto, which is part of the Invicti products. And as Zhang said in a very detailed presentation, let's in fact look into the Invicti ASPM and what is basically can offer in addition to our suites of products. Nowadays, most organizations do not just have a dust or only a SaaS, but they have a suite of tools. They might have 5, 10, 15, 20 different security tools that would range from SaaS to Dust to SCA to container to cloud. Basically, everyone is trying to get the best out of the best of breed when it comes to application security. Now, the issue is that each of them speak a different language. It becomes hectic to manage, create duplicate findings, and buries the team with a noise of vulnerability that cannot be tackled. The vision of the Invicti ASPM is that it unifies these scattered tools into a single view. It allows you to normalize findings, delivers actionable insights, and essentially the main aim is to enhance the risk posture management. Starting with the dashboard, which basically is a single pane of glass of application security. It gives you all of the insights, what are the issues open, overdues, SLAs, MTTR, window of exposure, risk trend, risk trends that basically we're having. Now, as also Cenk has mentioned, we also have projects. So we will also be showing you later on regarding the grouping functionality, but keep in mind that we have projects, we have products, and we can also filter based on themes. We can filter based on specific paths, based on specific dates, whether it's a team, whether it's a compliance standard, also filtering OWASP, PCI, or even looking at a specific date of range when it comes to vulnerability. So as you can see, you can drill down very, very well when it comes to how long or what is the period of time that you'd like to look at the overall vulnerability detection. So it's very detailed. It gives you a breakdown of vulnerabilities across products, across projects, across business unit. And you can also filter. So was there a question? My apologies. Oh, sorry.
Liam, sorry to interrupt. Are you
Yes.
sharing your dashboard?
Is it not showing? My apologies. Oh,
It's showing the
No, we
presentation.
see
oh,
a
thank you.
presentation demo slide.
One moment. Let me just, because I opened a different tab. My apologies. Can you see it now, team?
Yes.
Correct, yes.
Thank you, and thank you for pointing it out. So just to roll a bit back, as I was showing you, so you can view vulnerabilities basically on all time at a specific date range. You could also filter based on product, based on project, or based on team, even when it comes to compliance. So this is one request which we have seen a lot, where you would like to also look at not just standard reporting, but even like, for example, looking into OWASP top 10, so mapping the vulnerabilities across a specific compliance standard. Now, as we said, it's very detailed. It allows you to break down the vulnerabilities across products, across project, business unit, but it's also customizable. This is one approach which I really love regarding the Invicti ASPM. You have the option to tailor-made the dashboard to not just to a global level, but to a team level. So every team can build their dedicated views, can basically exercise or can basically track what matters when it comes to what is the goal that they would like to accomplish. So whether it's an engineering team focusing on critical issues, or whether it's a security management that is looking at the overall risk posture management. Graphs, as we said, is fully customizable. You can drag, drop, include, and create the dashboard, create the view that matters to you at the end of the day. We have been getting a lot of questions regarding exporting data, exporting the dashboard. And this is also available when it comes to the Invicti ASPM, where you can export it in PDF or HTML. So I can just give you a sample of a PDF format. There it is, where now you can see all of the data. Hopefully you can still see my screen. You can see the data that has been created through the custom the custom options, and having that report available for you or your management, or even external stakeholders or even auditors. Apart from being customizable and exportable, it's also filter driven. So you can drill down by scanner, by, for example, business criticality, business unit, projects, teams, and label. So therefore, when it comes to answering questions, when it comes to, okay, what is the critical issue regarding this project or this product, or which projects are going to be blocked because of a critical vulnerability, drilling down, finding an overview, an overall detailed view of your projects and your products and your teams, allowing you to have full visibility across your ASPM. In the Invicti ASPM, we have a different ways of how we are organizing vulnerabilities, or how we are organizing it as part of the grouping option. Cenk has already mentioned when it comes to the pricing a bit, when it comes to the projects and the users. So let's drill down to the projects. So projects, you might look at them as repositories. So these give you a tactical visibility at an engineering level. So here we have different repos, which, bear in mind, you don't need to create them one by one, but there are, for example, integrations with Invicti, or integrations with your ecosystems, at, for example, GitHub, GitLab, which can be integrated, and those repos can then be fetched and seen inside the projects view. But then we also have a roll-up on top of that. We have the products. So products are basically the grouping of projects into a single view. So the grouping essentially gives you the tactical visibility. Is because, for example, security teams or development teams might require a repo level view. So here we have, for example, Juice Shop demo site, and we have the vulnerabilities that are at the moment available on this on this project. But then the product will give you that additional overall view of multiple projects combined into a single product. So it's the aggregation of data into a single view. And essentially, this is where you can also see the overall. So when it comes to vulnerabilities, seeing what are the vulnerabilities that are being detected, the full view, the full detail regarding. So this was detected via demand. We can also look at Invicti, but just also show you SUST and DUST at the same time. So what is the vulnerability? What is the code? What is the standards available? There's full management of vulnerability. So you can also view and link to an issue tracker, as Cenk said, change the status, add notes, add attachment. This is one, I would say, very open, where you can also have a PDF, for example, have a file that you have just going to link it into an issue for future reference. But again, there's also going to be the full details even when it comes to the dust scanning side. So again, the overall vulnerabilities aggregated into one. So we can see all of the scans that were done. So we can have multiple scans, for example, scanners combined together, all the vulnerabilities that are at the moment present, their severity, their first seen, their CVSS. So just to give you an example on the dust also, so here we have command injection via the Invicti engine, giving you, first of all, what is the vulnerability, the query that was used, if it's confirmed, and the endpoint, the request and the response, the description about the vulnerability, recommendations, when it was first detected, if it's recurrent, the standards when it comes to, again, compliance. And as I will be showing you later on, the Invicti ASPM also has loads of integrations, as also Cenk had mentioned, and one of them being also with training partnership. So we have also a partnership with Secure Code Warrior and Secure Flag that not just gives you the vulnerability, but also gives you the additional trainings that comes to it in order to then to scale up and upskill your employees. Apart from, obviously, from having all of these vulnerabilities grouped together and available into one product, or basically into one project, into one product, there is also a detailed, there's also a built-in SBOM tracker available. So every project, So if we have to go into the project aspect, there's basically an SBOM tracking available. This was a one without an SBOM, unfortunately. But let's select another one. So they have an SBOM tracker inside of it. Let me just go here instead. Now, the advantage of this is that if, for example, there's a new technology which has surfaced, like the NPM or the infamous Log4j, where previously you might have to go through multiple tools, multiple DAST, SAST, SCA, to try and see if you have any of that following technology which has been deemed insecure and needs to be updated. Using the SBOM tracker, you can identify if your team is making use of that technology or that library, not in hours, but in minutes. So here we have all the SBOM's components grouped together based on different projects, based on different products, all under one roof, and you can have the option to then search for the package if needed straight away. But again, there's also the option for you to have a more detailed filtering option. So if a product, one moment. So you will have the option to also then continue on tracking and identify any components, any out-of-date components or open source dependencies that you're making use under one roof. Integration. So we have end-to-end coverage. So our platform acts as a central hub for application to tools. It allows you to integrate with both open source and also paid software. And I would say that we integrate with, if not all, basically the majority of scanners in the market, whether it's SAST, DAST, IAST, SCA, Infra. So these are all available and built in within our tool, and you can make use of integration by just simply activating them. Apart from, apologies, apart from the out-of-the-box, the Invicti ASPM also offers an open custom integration available. So if you're using an integration that we're not supporting or using a custom tool that you have developed in-house, you can then export the data and then map it into our custom integration option. So therefore, you will not be losing even if it's a custom tool that you have developed in-house. Beyond that, there's also other integrations available, such as threat intelligence, single sign-on. So you can also log in into the Invicti ASPM. You can using Okta, Azure AD, Google or SAML. There's also the application lifecycle management, which is I would say, the first onboarding of the repos into the Invicti ASPM. We can easily go ahead, integrate, and automatically you will then be seeing those projects being reflected back into the Invicti ASPM. There's issue management integration with Jira, with GitLab, with GitHub. And when it comes to the integrations, some of them are also very advanced. So when we're looking at Jira, we can also have the option that we will be seeing the changes done from Jira back into the Invicti ASPM. So it's bi-directional. So this allows you to have the Invicti ASPM as a single source of truth between all of these integrations across all of these tools, all communicating to the Invicti ASPM, and therefore having that one up to date with the latest changes. Notification tools, Slack, email, Teams, Mattermost, so these are all available. Training, as we said, we do have a partnership with Secure Code Warrior and Secure Flag. Together, there's also Code Basing and Avieto for training purposes, integration. And one of the things that I'm really excited about was the OpenAI integration. So there was always an element of having AI as part of the vulnerabilities, and we do have this available in our Invicti ASPM. So we will be using this integration to give you recommendations based on the vulnerabilities that have been reported using different tools. So using different integrations, these will all built then included into one central view, and then you have the OpenAI to give you additional recommendations, which is obviously is the next step. When it comes to management, I would say automations is a must. Without automations, you will be limited of how far or how much you can automate. And one of the most things that I was really excited about was the SLA. So SLA plays a crucial role. We have been having a lot of conversations where SLA plays a very dedicated requirement. And the thing is that you can't do one SLA that fits all because every organization have a different risk threshold. That's why we have a custom SLA definition tailored by, for example, scanner. So you can have a scanner, for example, SAST, DAST, IS, for example, and based on different projects, have a different SLA level. So here, this is I would say open doors to many customizations, as we could have an SLA, as we said, on the SAST together with Dust, Dust API, which will be under one SLA, but only for a particular project. So we have that customization, we have that option. And we can also record or start to say when will the SLA start, whether it would be when it first created as a ticket or when it was first detected. So you can also have that option available. You can also add additional labeling or triggers. So when it comes to business unit, when it comes to flags, when it comes so here we're basically saying create a flag. So if this vulnerability gets detected, it will then flag it or label it accordingly. When it comes to reporting, we also have a workflow available that will allow you to generate, and this is also very advanced, allows you to generate, for example, let me just go back, a weekly, monthly, quarterly, or semi-annually, as an example, based on which teams, based on which who will be receiving the reports, or based on which, if it's AppSec or infra or both. And the templates are basically available and built in. So here, let's say we have the CISO, for example, would like to have an overall view of how the team are adopting DAST, SAST, SCA, IS, for example. So you have or whether it's open tools, open vulnerabilities based on tools, or if it's what are the new vulnerabilities. So you have all of these charts, all of these data components available for you with just selection, and this can be automated to view this data, to get this aggregated data in your mailbox, depending on the frequency that you would like to receive it. When we're looking at automation, Cenk, in fact, mentioned it very well when it comes to automation rules. So when it comes to suppression, when it comes to CI/CD, when it comes to raising alerts or raising issues, you can do this easily by specifying, for example, the condition. So if this condition is met, so for example, it's a committer and it's, for example, unknown, for example, do an action for the CI/CD, but only for all the projects or for a specific team with label, or specific team for project with a team or a label. So you can customize what will be the action, what will be sending once we have these vulnerabilities. In addition to that, the tool is also multi-user based. So as a security scale across your organization, you need to ensure that you have the right controls across your team members. So we do support multi-user together with custom RBAC. So here we have different roles, plus you can also add a custom role. And you can also then align roles to users, or also add users into a team. So therefore, you are ensuring that the users that are going to be aligned to a specific squad or business unit or security groups, or everyone has the right information or has the right access configured, allocated to these team members. Once, obviously, we start having these vulnerabilities detected and the teams are managing on the vulnerabilities, there's also there's also the suppression request available. Basically, and this was also one feature which has been requested multiple times, is basically allows you that there is a form of approval, request approval, when it comes to changing vulnerabilities to false positive or accepted risk. So for example, the vulnerabilities will not be automatically be changed to a status, but a request has been sent. there will be an approval assigned that will be able to accept or reject that request. And if accepted, there will also be the ability for you to then record, even for auditing purposes. When it was it? What is the vulnerability? Who requested and who approved it? So there will be that recorded for future or again, for auditing purposes, or even for incidents, going back and see what happened during that time. We talked about a lot regarding integrations from different tools and different products. One thing which I would like to close for today, because I would like to leave some time for Q&A, is the correlation assistance, which is the ability for us to try and minimize the number of tickets or number of vulnerabilities that are being reported, to try and consolidate them into one using this correlation assistance, which is fully customizable. So here, what we're basically able to configure is that we are first of all able to select a tool. Let's say a vulnerability coming from Invicti, a vulnerability coming from checkmarks, as an example, or let's say the segment is not here. A vulnerability, for example, coming from SendGrab, as an example. How we'll be correlating vulnerabilities if the conditions are met. This is where we can be fully customizable, saying, okay, based on CVE, it needs to match. For example, based on the committer, is it's coming from the same project, based on the FQDN also, because it needs to be on the same FQDN. And also, for example, you can say based on the same severity or tag. So you can use this information. So if certain vulnerabilities are matching, obviously it would require a bit of plan on how you can do this, but allows you to have the logical rules implemented within the Invicti ASPM to then start correlating these vulnerabilities together and minimize number of tickets, number of noise that you are now going to be providing to your team. I hope that was up to your expectations, first of all, team. Just to open a bit the questions for any Q&A or any questions, but I'll leave the mic to Rahul. So there was a question coming, as far as I know, Nexpose is a vulnerability scanner. Invicti ASPM is not a scan engine, but can ingest data from other sources. Yes, so basically the Invicti ASPM is not a scanning engine, it's basically a consolidation, it's an ASPM tool, but yes, we do have the Invicti engine, which is basically a DAST, IAST scanner together with API security also available. There are some
Maybe
overlapping features. Yes, go ahead, Cenk. Go, please.
Maybe I can explain some of the details about how to use an Invicti ASPM with an Invicti DAST solution. Since an Invicti DAST and API security tools is focusing on the API endpoints, one use case could be using ASPM, we can find projects and associate projects with API endpoints, and you can basically have an project level security posture which contains static application security findings, container security findings, and as well as API security findings. So for a single project or group of projects which we call product, we can have a posture for different security categories. This is actually where the platform shines. And Invicti ASPM is primarily focuses is the application security, meaning that from the repository level, all the security checks, including secret scan, static application security testing, can be separately analyzed and seen from the ASPM platform and dashboards. So there's a question related to API security. Maybe Liam, you can.
Yes, I was going to say, I think obviously, so when looking at API security, include API gateway as well. So when we're looking at API security from the Invicti platform, it's basically it has multiple advantages. So first of all, it can integrate with API gateways such as MuleSoft, APG, Kong as an example, but it also includes what we call is the Network Traffic Analyzer, the NTA, which is a powerful component that can be installed on the web server side in conjunction with Kubernetes, with Nginx, with F5 Big I rule, or we have also introduced, in fact, integration with Cloudflare. There was also Istio, where it acts as a detector. So based on the traffic that's being executed, the NTA will capture these components, will capture these endpoints, and then starts to reconstruct them and document them into the platform. From those traffic, from those endpoints, first of all, you'll be gaining full visibility when it comes to your API endpoints or your API inventory, as you might say, and then utilize that traffic to then feed it into our Dust scan engine. So the approach of manually uploading or not having the API endpoints up to date, or limiting the Dust engine, limiting the Dust scan because you don't have or never existed or it's not up to date a proper and documented API file. So that would be then be tackled via the Invicti API security component together. For those who might know, there is also the BOALA, IDOR, and BFLA embedded within the API security engine. So you can also look for other, for more advanced security check, which are part, for example, of the OWASP API Top 10.
Liam, I have seen one question. So what is the advantage for a customer like us to have Invicti ASPM if we already have a kinetic solution?
Good point. I give you my two cents from my side, but obviously I will also give some time to Cenk, the expert in ASPM, to obviously jump in. Most of the times, or based on conversations that I have been seeing, is that teams don't just have Invicti Dust engine, but they have Dust, they have SCA, they have SAST, they have container. So they are today's market. You can't only be safe with only one source of scanning, but you will have multiple sources. Now, as we said, all of these sources are talking a different language. All of them have their own management UI, their own system, as you might say, the update that would take ages. So we found the SAS from here, we found the DOS from here. So we even have to go from one tool to another, configuration from one tool to another. And the reporting will obviously, each tool might have an integration with this, but the other one might not have the integration. So the main advantage of having the Invicti ASPM is not just if you have the Invicti Dust. The Invicti Dust will be a source of data that will be inserted into the Invicti SPM, but the Invicti SPM will be then shines more when you have multiple tools that are going to be consolidating the data into a single point. But again, I'm going to give Cenk also the mic just in case he would like to add on top of anything which I said.
So you explained very well, but let me underline a few points. If you only have Dast, I think from an ASPM perspective, we can provide, again, additional benefits. So Liam, can you go to the integration section page on the ASPM? So let's say you only have a Dast engine, right? As mentioned, since we have orchestration capabilities, some open source technologies will be added into the ASPM offering, and without additional resources, you can start using it. So let's go to the SAST section again, Liam. And here, for example, we have some solutions like SamGrab Community Edition, or if you go down, we have Brakeman, Bandit, Python, Golang. These are programming language specific open source scanners which perform very well. Let's say you are on the Dast engine, you can use such additional open source technologies to have a better coverage on your DevSecOps platform. So the platform itself will bring you some additional scanners to increase the accuracy with the correlation, automation, orchestration capabilities. So this means that we will have a vulnerability management platform with some additional scan orchestration capabilities which cover, increase the coverage. So there is also another question related to the what happens if you have a SAST and SCA tools. So let's say you have a SAST and SCA tools. Again, from a vulnerability management perspective, we will provide you a single pane of glass. Besides that, we will provide you an ASPM index. So in Invicti ASPM, you can push your ASPOMs, or your ASPM itself can pull ASPOM lists from your commercial SCA scanner, and you can again use some automations, but you can use this platform for a few different things. This could be an CI/CD blocker, or a kind of a gateway, security gateway. You can use reports, additional reports for the upper management. So we have some use cases that the observability piece of the ASPM capabilities is the main driver for companies to adapt such a solutions. So as Liam mentioned, our comparison reports are pretty powerful. So you can share your development teams, security comparison reports to upper management to understand how well teams are performing, and why the low performing teams, or what kind of low performing teams additional training or requirement will be needed for them. We can definitely have a more detailed demo if you need any time. So yeah, feel free to reach
Definitely,
out.
yes. Day is a bit limited with time, but definitely there's also the opportunity to dive into. Sorry. Yes, we can dive into more areas that you would like. Obviously, not everyone will have the same requirement or the same need. So this is where the Invicti SPM comes in place. It's set, it's customizable, it's open, that can fit in any requirement that basically it's set. As Cenk has also mentioned, the open source plays a very also powerful role, where you might be at the moment prioritizing Dust and Dust, or my prioritizing Dust, and then you can then leverage the open source community to basically then have additional security scanning and data being inserted into one view. There is also a question regarding is API gateway required as a prerequisite if we need to activate the API security features? So API security features. So the API gateway. So the API security. Let's put it in that view. It has multiple advantages: BOLA and IDOR security scanning, integration with API management to tools such as MuleSoft, AWS API management, and there's also the NTA, the Network Traffic Analyzer. So essentially, the API security don't require an API management, an API gateway integration. So if you would like to utilize the NTA, that would very be relevant, as you'll be pulling data, identifying potential endpoints that you don't know about, and then that will be populated into one that dashboard. So you also have a dashboard for your API insights. You can use that endpoints and then attach them into a scan. Again, if you would like, we're more than happy to dive into the Invicti API security, so we can also dive into configuration, identification, and also obviously the reporting of the API vulnerabilities. Great. I don't think there's any more questions, but looks like if you do have, or go ahead, Rahul, please.
Yeah, thanks, Liam. Cenk, so one quick question is Invicti ASPM is the only on-premise ASPM platform which is available now? And yeah. Cenk, I believe you're muted.
As far as
Go
I
ahead.
know, yes.
Thanks.
But I mean, since ASPM competition is on the rise, as far as on my knowledge, yes, Invicti ASPM is the only ASPM full-fledged ASPM platform that can run on-premise, as well as it will not require any internet connection at all. So if you have a super strict environment, the ASPM will work as well.
Okay, so thank you all for joining today's session. So we'll be, if you have any questions, you can further, we'll be sending you the recordings, and we can further take it up. Thank you so much, Cenk, for your time. Thanks, Liam, for your time.
Thank you very much.
Have a great day.